Welcome to the Human Experience by Hiddenbody. Rich, Tim and I, we've been practicing and studying within the field of movement for 10 plus years. Through our explorations, we're trying to bring a lighter and more inclusive approach to the movement practice and to the human experience. Now, if you want to develop strength, flexibility and skills, or you want to stimulate your body and your brain, go to hiddenbody.nl. Let's continue with today's episode.
Friday, no glory, no fireworks, no sunshine, just Jori, a wall, a tennis ball, and the mind of a practitioner. The real work. Working on coordinating the motions from the feet into the arms, trying to find transmission, efficient transmission. I know it doesn't look very impressive, but it's the starting point.
Dit is ook van een Pacific. Maar deze jobcoach heeft allemaal van die termen en allemaal dingen uitgevuld.
I just ran a 5K round in the Vesta Park, which is a park very close to my home. And I'm going to teach in about 2 hours. And I just wanted to share my nasal breathing insight for this week. It's not that long. It's just the sensation of getting stronger in a way, and the way that I feel it is through that if I'm running, I feel a little bit less stressed for air hunger when I'm trying to speed up, for example, and just throughout the run. And then the moment that I stop, the breathing through the nose feels very easy, but even it feels like the space inside of my nose, my nostrils, has expanded.
So Jori Rich and I are running this beautiful nasal breath experiment, or nose breathing. By the way, this is me coming from my home, and as you can see, some nice little cuddling stuff. Basically, me and my wife are preparing for a beautiful additional family member. I won't share the complete room, but yeah, it's something that's coming. And the nasal breath, how does that ties into nasal breathing? Well, of course, we got to be prepared for some, flexible and dynamic situations. And in the previous video, I explained already how the nasal breath, or breathing through the nose, has allowed me to become much more aware of the different systems or the states that I'm in that are tied towards the specific autonomic nervous systems. So we have the parasympathetic and the sympathetic, of course. Well, what I started to notice is that the nasal breath, or the nose breath, for me has become a beautiful constraint. And one of the ways I like to, for example, for myself, like to experiment, but also to see what is the impact of a certain thing that you do, whether it's a movement, whether it's a habit that you try to incorporate, is can you create a system that you can still do and manage on days that you may not feel like it. And therefore, in my opinion, a good system always has one core element into it, and that's constraints. So the constraint there is that we're only focusing on nasal breathing. And what it allowed me to do is that in a multitude of situations, I'm trying to adhere to this principle as much as I can. So for example, when I'm doing sprints, I'm still, after I've done a sprint, I still feel like I wanna breathe through the mouth, but I still keep the constraint present and try to breathe only through the nose. Additionally, what I am starting to experiment with as well is to place the tongue on the top of the palate. So a lot of the times, due to soft food, we forget or the facial structure or how strong your jaws are getting a little bit more or getting a little bit less because of this soft squishy food with fast food, etc., that is now already like a lot of the time present. And one of the ways you can improve sort of or work a little bit on the strength of your facial structure is this concept called mewing, and one of the elements is that you place your tongue on the top of the palate. This is also becoming more of an anchor point and a constraint. So every time I'm on a couch and I'm witnessing, or I get this small hint that I'm breathing through the nose, I also immediately tie it into, okay, am I placing the tongue on the palate? And if it's not, I'm placing it there. And then indeed with the sprinting, it's a nice little constraint. So what it for me has done is it has shown me that the working just with a very simple constraint, in this case breathing through the nose, it has not only transformed the way I'm like how I'm breathing. So I feel like I've become much more efficient with my breathing and the respiratory structures. It has also served as a way to start experimenting with other stuff. So the lesson I got, or the insight that I got from nose breathing, is that if you can start small, if you can start with a small constraint in something you're trying to improve. So for example, if you would work on your respiratory structure, or you try to improve your cardiac output, something small as working on the nose breathing can have a huge effect as a way to start exploring new regions that come up with your experiment. So this is a little bit something I'm going through. I'm using now the nasal breathing more as a constraint to see, okay, what are other elements in movements, in daily routines, in habits, in systems that I can sort of experiment, dive into and research, and then use the nasal breathing or the nose breathing as an anchor point to tap into those experiments.
Good morning, this is Jori from Hiddenbody. It's Saturday around 7 a.m. I'm here outside and I'm going to do some sprinting techniques, and I'm going to do it in the light of this sun. Human experience.
Meeting up after the first class of the year. After eating tennis.
Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope you could extract something useful out of our experience, and make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed our content. If you want to know how Hiddenbody can help you develop strength, flexibility and skills, or stimulate your body and brain, go to hiddenbody.nl in the description below to find out what it is that we have to offer.